Hello again, all my lovely astro seekers. So I'm back again with the second part of the first video that I did in regards to find your purpose. So I know a lot of you are looking for your purpose, trying to figure out, why am I here? Why am I on this planet? Uh, what's my purpose? How can I help humanity? Well, here's the thing, if you want to be a successful person, you need to help other people. No man is an island, no woman is an island. So this information I'm about to tell you it's extraordinary. If you're able to go out and figure out what your north node is and what your south node is, then it can be very, very beneficial for you in figuring out what your purpose is. So let's jump into it right away. So I did explain in my previous video what a north and south node is. So here is my chart, my empty chart that doesn't have any planets in it. And so pretty much what this is a representation of a natal chart. And a natal chart is, when you're born, it's a snapshot of the universe and where the planets were. So in order to know what your south node and your north node is, you need to have a chart. You need to see your chart and you need to see where they are. So in this video, I'm going to discuss Aries, which is in the first house here, and Libra, which is in the seventh house in my chart. So the first thing I want to tell you is that if your north node is in Aries, okay, and your south node is in Libra, then it means that as an Aries north node, you're here to focus on yourself. You're here to focus on making yourself the best self that you could be. Now, it's going to vary depending on what area it is in your chart. So for example, if you have Aries in, let's say, the seventh house, and then Libra is in the first house, which would make you a rising Libra, then it wouldn't be all about you, because the placement of where the sign is so important, because the placement of the sign is exactly how you're going to play out that area of life. So each of these pieces of the pie, there's 12 pieces, and each piece of the pie represents an area of life. So for example, if you had Libra as the south node and it was in your first house, but you had Aries as your north node in the seventh house, which is kind of contradicting, then you're obviously here to focus on yourself, but to perhaps be a role model to your partner. It could play out in many different ways. But the theme is that in your past life, and I'll make it less complicated for you. Let's just stick to Aries being in the first house and Libra being in the seventh house, because it makes it so much easier for everybody. The first house is representative self. Now, as I said in the first video, I was talking about Meghan Markle and how she married Harry in a royal family. And her north node was in Leo, but it was in Leo in the first house. And so what the first house signals is, it signals that your destiny that you're going to achieve is most likely going to be seen by everybody. It's going to be seen on a grand scale, because the first house represents how we present ourselves to the world. So how I look right now, you're seeing my first house. This is what you're seeing, right? Whereas the seventh house is more focused on partnerships. It's focused on business. So if you have a Libra in the seventh house, then it would mean that you're going to be focusing more on business. You're going to be focusing more on relationships. Perhaps in this lifetime, you're going to get married. Maybe in your last life, you didn't get married, right? You were just focused on yourself. And that's why it's in the south node. And now there's a danger for people who have a south node in Aries, because it creates selfishness. It creates like, I can do this all on my own. I don't need help. I can, I don't need anybody, this and that. But in reality, when you're a north node Libra, the universe is asking you to partner up. And what's going to happen in your life is the universe is going to put in a lot of people, put a lot of people in front of you, potential partners, and you'll just become married, or you might just be in a relationship with somebody randomly, like out of nowhere. And you might go through a whole bunch of relationships, and the relationships might not work out. So it might be like, you go from one relationship and then to another relationship and then to another relationship, and then you just feel like, what the hell, nothing's working anymore, right? But it's a challenge, right? Because the North Node is always a challenge. It's always something that you have to overcome. You have to conquer it. So if you could develop the skills of a Libra, right? If you could develop skills like how to communicate better with people, how to plan things, how to work with someone else, how to delegate things to other people, then you're now working within this realm of your North Node. And the depression, the anxiety, and whatever you're feeling has now diminished because you're working on the opposite. You're balancing your energies, okay? Because the South Node sometimes it's weighed down, okay? So you have a lot of skills in that area. You know how to be an Aries. You know how to be independent. You know how to get things for yourself. But the universe doesn't care about that, because when you die, you've basically accomplished nothing if you haven't been able to develop the opposite skills of what you came into this life for. So it's very, very, very simple. It's very, very simple how this works, okay? So it's always going to be the opposite. It's always going to be the opposite. So Aries is opposite Libra, and Libra is opposite Aries. Now, if you have a Libra as a South Node, and you have an Aries as a North Node, and let's say, again, you have Aries in the first house, but it's your South Node, and you have Libra in the seventh house as a North Node, or sorry, as a South Node, and Aries as a North Node, then it means that you're here to become an independent person. You need to show your independence. You need to be a pioneer. Aries is the ruler of the first house. So if your North Node is in Aries and it's in the first house, it means that there's something that people are going to see you develop for yourself. So you might teach people how to be independent. You might show people how to be self-sufficient. You might become a pioneer for starting something new that everybody sees and experiences on a physical level, right? Whereas your South Node means that maybe in your past life you were more focused on relationships, you were more focused on developing, having a marriage or developing a business with somebody, because the seventh house rules anything to do with business and relationships. It doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship in this life. It just means that, you might become more self-sufficient in a relationship. So how might that happen? Well, what happens is each and every one of us goes through trials, okay? So some of us go through trials, some of us, things don't work out for us, but what happens is we are quick to be negative about things that don't work out in our life. But we shouldn't be like that, because when things don't work out, there's always a lesson there for us to learn. There's always something to learn there. You could have done something better, or the other person could have done something better. Whatever the case may be, there's always something to learn from your experience, right? So I'm just going to give you a hypothetical experience that someone might have if they had a South Node in Libra, okay? So you might be in a relationship, or someone might be in a relationship, and then all of a sudden they get a divorce, or they break up, or things don't work out. But through their partner, they built something that made them become self-sufficient, like because their partner abandoned them or their partner left them. They've learned now to take care of themselves, because when they were in a partnership, they were so reliant on the relationship through the South Node, right? Their self nod, they experience, okay, yeah, like they're in a relationship, they're great at getting into a relationship because remember, it's the self nod. So anything in the self nod is super easy for someone to do. Okay? So it pretty much means that, the person might have had a bad experience in their relationship, okay, because that's not what they're meant to be doing. They've already done that in their past life. They're a master at being in relationships. They're a master at developing businesses. Are they a master at developing themselves? Are they a master at self-sufficiency? Are they a master at, you know, pioneering through things and creating new things without relying on somebody else? Do they know how to focus on themselves? And I don't mean focus on yourself in a selfish kind of way. I'm saying focus on yourself in developing yourself, developing your skills so that you can help other people. Because once you develop your skills inside of yourself, the beauty is that the seventh house opens. Okay? So if you're working on your first house, you're working on your north node, your self node will automatically open. So you might be working away at being self-sufficient and learning how to pioneer through yourself, building your skills, maybe learning a language, maybe taking a new course, maybe, and this really depends because you could have Aries North Node in the fourth house. That would mean being self-sufficient in a family. How do you do that? How do you become self-sufficient in a family? Well, instead of asking your family all the time to bail you out, because something bad happened, you start to learn how to bail yourself out within the family and you show the family that now you're self-sufficient. So it really, really depends where Aries is and where it falls in your chart. I'm going to be doing more videos on this. I'm going to have extended versions that are available as well too. If this is something that you're very interested in, then that will be available. If you are a North Node or South Node Aries or a North Node, South Node Libra, then this is a great video for you to watch and it will give you a better understanding of what your purpose is, okay? So thank you for watching. I really hope this helped somebody and stay tuned for the other signs because I'm going to be doing all of the other signs as well. So please subscribe, like the channel, and also leave a comment if you can. It helps me to get in touch with your energy, for me to give you better readings, for me to give you better updates on the current planet positions, as well as any information that I feel would really help you, okay? So thank you for tuning in, and again, like, subscribe, comment, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Bye.